Hey guys, so this is my first video. So this is basically how I will be doing my videos. I will be doing it as an online whiteboard, so it is much easier to record. So the first topic that is going to be covered is algebra. I'm going to say 1. Excuse me. Because there are 3 parts to algebra. It is a big topic, but it is hands down the most important because you will use algebra in all your methods in maths. So it is important. So the first thing to cover is just all of the definitions. So we're going to say, okay, before that I'm actually just going to say what algebra is. Algebra is, it's a method of problem solving basically. So if we do not know something, if we don't know a quantity or a value, we can use algebra to figure it out. So an example I can use is, let's just say you have bananas, and you would have 3 bananas, and the value they have is 12. Okay, your x here is your banana. I don't know why I'm doing the arrows. Your 3 is the quantity, and your 12 is your value. So what you do is you basically just divide them both by 3. So you have your value, and by simple maths that's just 4. Okay. It is just that. That is something fairly simple. Now it is a simple concept, but it is a lot. So it is something that should be worked out and perfected sooner than later, because later you're going to have to know all these when you go into different topics such as calculus, probability, statistics, arithmetic. Well, not arithmetic. What am I thinking? In a way, real numbers, but not really complex numbers. Yes, that is another one. Functions, you will have to know functions. So knowing the full algebra will definitely help you in that. And yeah, those are really just the main ones. So definitely try and perfect algebra to a certain point. Okay. Alright. So this is going to be the definitions. Okay. So the first definition is variables. Sorry, I'm writing with my fingers, so it might seem very untidy. So your variable is basically just your x or your y. These are the 2 that we're going to be using. No others unless you're weird. So your variable has no set definition. You cannot define what x is. You cannot define what y is. But they are numbers. But we don't know what numbers they are. So they cannot be set defined. They can be any number. They are a number. And there's another rule here that I wrote down about it. And the rules that we have for numbers on how to solve them, add them, subtract them, whatever, x also follows those rules. So that is the variable. It is a letter which has value but not a defined value. Excuse me. So the next one is going to be your coefficient. Oh, that's bad writing. There we go. This is the number. Damn it, draw. There we go. This is your number before your variable. I always think of it as something that gives the variable its value. What is going on? Hang on. Again, I'm learning how to do this, so it's going to take a while. Okay. So it gives its x the value, because remember when I was talking about in the first page about this, we have the bananas and we have the quantity. Your quantity, this one here, this is your coefficient. The coefficient is basically telling you how much of the value there is, if that makes sense. I know that seems very confusing, but the only thing you really need to know is that the coefficient is just a number before the variable, and that it can represent quantity of the value, and it is very simple to solve. Oh my lord. There we go. So, constant. These are the most important terms, these three. Once you know these, you are okay to start with. So your constant is a defined number, so 2. Damn it. 2. 2 is 2. It is not 3, it is not 10, it is not J, it is not lamppost, it is 2. So the constant is a defined number that will never have its value changed, and it will always stand on its own. Now when we get to later terms, you can add them into the terms, but constants are always just set numbers. They will never change. That's the only thing you need to remember. So now I'm going to scroll down, and we have terms. This is very important as well to know, and this is basically a term. Damn it. Oh, so untidy. A term is your coefficient with a variable, and this represents one whole number, and that would be what you would call your term, just this. In terms of the terminology, it's proper, profound terminology. You don't need to know that. All you need to know is that it's just the coefficient and the variable together that forms one term. That's all you need to know. If I confused it a little bit, I apologize. So now we need to go into expressions. Oh my lord. And this would be what an expression is. I will get better at this. So, how you would think of expressions is that you are expressing your value in terms of your unknown. That would be what you would call an expression. And if you look at it actually, an expression can also just be called a formula. So this is what your expression would be. And yeah, oh, god damn it, why is there a line? No. Okay. So if we look at this page, we know our definitions: variable, coefficient, constant, terms, and expression. And those are just all them. Okay. Right. So the first topic that we are going to look at is substitution. So I'm just going to write that here. Why is that a W? Substitution. Okay. So when you are looking at substitution, it's basically where you know what your variable value is and you're trying to find out your solution. So let's look at this. So 2x is equal to 10. Or no, my bad. No. So you have 2x plus 5 is equal to that. And the type of question you'd get is, what is question mark if x is equal to 3. Let's just say 3. Okay. So you know that x equals 3. So what I do is 2x plus 5 is equal to question mark. And now you know x is equal to 3. So 2 bracket 3. The brackets here means that you are multiplying the 3 by the 2 plus 5 is equal to question mark. Question mark is equal to 6 plus 5, which equals 11. Those are the very, very basics of this. It is very simple, so I don't need to spend too much time on it, but that would be substitution. And how you would know it's substitution is when it says if x equals whatever. That is substitution. Okay. So now we have addition. Where are you going? There you go. Addition and subtraction. Damn it. Addition and subtraction. Okay. So the two rules that you need to know, well, the one rule for now is, what am I doing? Oh yeah, here we go. All terms must have the same variable. What is this? Here it is. Variable if they want to add together. Okay. Can I zoom in a little bit? There we go. Why didn't I do that in the first place? Anyways, so all terms must have the same variable if they want to add or subtract together. And what does that mean? That means that an x must add to an x to form one term, or a y must add with another y to make one term. That's all it is. So we're going to have a look at a few. So I'm going to say 6x plus 10y minus 2x minus 5y. Okay, so with this we can arrange it to bring x's and y's beside each other. So the first thing I would do is to bring this minus 2x and put it beside the 6x. So we basically switch these two around. So 6x minus 2x plus 10y minus 5y. Hang on. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little more, my bad. So that would be how you would look at that. So now we have it in a much simpler way, where just put a line through them and you have two terms. This is term 1, term 2. And that is that. Just term 1 and term 2. And to have the answer, it is 4x, so plus 5y, t1, t2. So that is how you would do this kind of answer. And just to check back, does it obey the rules? Yes, it does. One x term has formed by subtracting, or by the subtraction of two like terms, and the second term was formed by the subtraction of two other like terms. So that would be your subtraction, and addition is basically just changing the sign. Okay. Give me 2 seconds. Just need to see what the next topic is. So, multiplying terms, that is next. So, that is not spelling. Multiplication. Okay. So, hang on 2 seconds. Okay. So, Okay, just gonna zoom in for a little bit. Okay, much better. Okay, so when you think of multiplying terms, it is, so let's just say you wanted to multiply normal numbers. So 2 multiplied by 3 is equal to 6. That is basically just that. And when you have 2x by 3x, you would think that it's 6x. There we go. But it's not. No, it's not. Because the x's are multiplying together, it is basically 1 by 1. So how you would think of that is, well, what is this? First of all, it's 1 squared. And another thing to remember is when you're writing x, it just equates to 1x. So you see the 1 there, and if you look, if you look back at the 1 by 1, it just gave 1 squared. So that would be the same with x. X multiplied by x is x squared. How you would do the top one that I said, I'm going to change that x, it's ugly. There we go. You would have to put a squared on the x, because what's happening is your coefficients are multiplying together, but your x's are multiplying together. That's just how it is for the time being. That's basically all you really need to know about it. So let's just have a little look at an example. So, okay, I found a perfect one. So let's just scroll down. Actually, let's zoom in. And let's go over here. No, never mind, I can't do that. Anyways, 4x squared multiplied this little dot, well, it should be a dot, not a squiggles, basically just means the product of, and we're going to say 5x cubed. And what this basically means is this, 4 bracket x, put around that. And remember, bracket just means multiplying by. So now you have 5 x and so on. Or actually, I'll just draw. Hang on. I need to get a stylus. This is annoying. Just trying to draw and it's not responding. It's a little triggering, but you know. And we're just going to zoom in again. How you would represent this is just bring your coefficients together and then your x's. And so on. Until you've reached your last x value. Okay. So I'm actually going to change it to this, because this is very light. Okay, so no. So now I scroll down again and just draw. There we go. And this basically represents 20x to the 5. Now I made it look very complicated, but this is just how you would try to remember it. So another way you can represent this is ax to the c multiplied by no, not a, no, bx to the d is equal to abx to the c plus d. I would remember this one because when you are multiplying like terms together with powers, this is what you need to remember the most. And it's just a fact. You need to remember that. And multiplying unlike terms, so let's just say 2x plus 5y. You can multiply your coefficients together. That's allowed. But x and y are not the same, so it's just left like this. And when you progress more in maths, you will have things like this. But luckily, it is easy to solve in another topic, which I'll be covering, so don't worry about it. So that is basically just the multiplication. So now I'm going to go on to the division. Multiplying by brackets. So just by brackets. Okay. So by brackets is basically if you have a term A and it is, let's just say, B plus C. What this means is everything in that bracket will individually get multiplied by the outside term, which in this case is A. So this means A, B plus A, C. There is a way of doing this. In later terms I will explain it, but this is just by brackets. So I'm going to give you an example. So that's just basically what it means. Remember this formula. Okay. Put a star around it. Remember. Okay. So E, G. 3 x plus 9. What this is basically saying that everything in this bracket is individually going to be multiplied by the 3. So you take your x and you multiply by the 3, and that's just going to be 3x. And you have your 9, you take that and you multiply by the 3, and it's going to be 27. And that's just basically that. I'm not going to waste time with another example, but this is basically what you would try to remember. I'm going to leave that for a bit so you can write it down. Okay. So I don't have much more to go through. Or do I? No. No, I don't have much more. Okay. So now we go on to algebraic expressions. So, actually no, that's not next. Algebraic fractions. And this is basically where you have a variable over another variable, or variable over a denominator even. Hang on, I'm going to go back. I'm actually going to write out an example. So 3x over 5 plus 2x over 6. Okay. This is what you would call algebraic fractions. You have your variable over denominator in one, and you have the same variable over another. So these are two separate terms, but there is an addition, so there will be one big term, which will be your solution. So what you would do is you look for your lowest common denominator. Remember this term. So you have a 5 and a 6. What you essentially do is a lot quicker. You can multiply them both. Actually, no, that won't work in some cases, because you could have 2 and 4. Your lowest common denominator is going to be 4, not 8. So don't actually listen to that. So in this case, you just go through your mind and say, okay, what multiple is in 6, or what factor is in 6, or no, multiple. It's a multiple. What multiple is in 6 that's in 5 as well? In this case, it's 30. So unfortunately, it's a big number, but that's fine. So your whole thing will be over 30. But, and you just have your, what are they again? 3x and 2x. 3x plus 2x. Why I left spaces is because we need to find out, well, because the denominator is not the same as any of them, that you need to have something to, in a way, please it, if that makes sense. I know that seems weird, but that's just something. Why is my Wi-Fi gone? No. Whatever. So we need to make this right. So what we're going to do is say, how many times does 6 go into 30? It goes in 5 times. And 6 is the denominator of the 2x, so we're going to put, it's not drawing, 5, and bracket the 2x. And with the 5, how many times does 5 go into 30? Well, it goes 6 times. So you put the 6 in front of the 3x and bracket the 3x. So now you just multiply them out. So it'll be 18x plus 10x all over 30, which is 28x over 30. You can simplify this a lot more, because you can divide each of the, well, you can divide the coefficient and the denominator by 2. So you have 14x draw. There we go. All over 15. Okay. So that would just be how you do that. Oh my 14x all over 15. Sorry for the bad drawing, it's meh. So the rest is really just can be covered in the next one, because I feel that I am a little bit over time. So this video is just the introduction, so the things to take away from this is your definitions, what a variable is, what a coefficient is, what a constant is, terms and expression. Substitution, what you do in this case. Addition and subtraction. So just remember, only two like terms can be added together to form one set term. And that's the same with subtraction. You can't add 4x and 5y together. It does not make sense. Multiplying is a different story. With powers, it is this formula. Remember that. Let's leave that there for a second. So this is an important one to remember, and definitely write it down. And did I put that there? No. Should be the dot. Like that. And you can do that, but you know, it's just gonna look meh. By brackets, it is everything in your inside bracket, everything inside the bracket is individually multiplied by the outside bracket, or the outside term even. And there's an example there. And algebraic fractions is your variable over a number, and you simplify it using your lowest common denominator. So I'm going to give you a formula for that one, if I can figure it out. No, it would just look too long, so I'm just going to leave it, but no. So I'm just going to leave it with that. So that is the first video. If you did watch it, thank you very much. And I know things were very confusing in this first video, but as I said before, I am just learning how to use the technology and how I can record these, and I always just do it in one take, so unless I need to draft, but I don't think I need to in this case, hopefully. So I'm going to leave yous with that, and I hope that yous have learned something new. They are fairly simple, so I don't expect it to be new, but you know, the videos are there for the future. So thank you for listening, and I will see you soon with the second video. Okay, bye.